Kasheme, conscious listening.
So I have a small brother and a big brother, and my big brother, he grew up in France because he has a different mum, and he was a skateboarder, like a pro skateboarder. He used to travel to America on skateboarding trips before the internet, and he brought back mixtapes of hip hop that no one else could hear because it was before the internet. And so I became fascinated by how there was music in the world that other people didn't know about and that I knew about because my brother obviously gave me access to that music. And I think that started my curiosity for music discovery in a way. That was probably my earliest memory of realizing what discovering music was and like how it felt so exciting to know something new that was otherwise not accessible to everyone else.
We drift on in the dawn.
Probably old Tribe Called Quest stuff from the 90s, you know, things like that, quite jazzy hip hop actually. And I realized that the jazzy hip hop taste then formed into me becoming really into house music that was very jazzy. And I was buying, in the beginning of my DJing career, I was buying a lot of house records that were like Chicago house with jazz samples and vocals and brass and keys. So a lot of the electronic music that I was buying came from, well, jazz. Everything came from jazz. Yeah, so I originally moved to a smaller city called Edinburgh, which I started my DJ journey there, but I had started going to Glasgow for events, you know, gigs and clubs. And I just realized how much more vibrant Glasgow was. It was so exciting. There was all these amazing club nights and bands and every type of music you could possibly imagine. It was just really exciting. So then one of my friends called me up and said, hey, we've got a room available, like a space in our apartment. So I just packed my stuff and I moved, you know, 2 days later or something, and arrived to Glasgow with my bags and my dreams and my excitement and my wonder, and immediately just started playing in clubs, pretty much. When I sit down to make a song, usually I have an imagination of the song in my head. So it's like, you know the way that when you have a dream, right? You know what the dream's about and you know what the message is and you know how it feels, the dream. So for me, I just know how it feels, that song or that piece of music. So I just sit down and start experimenting. Usually I pull in samples from records. I put records on turntable, I sample stuff in, I mess around, I create little loops or little drum patterns with, you know, drum breaks from records or whatever. And I just start to structure the song. And quite often I think it's going to sound a certain way, but it really doesn't sound that way, because for me it's the message and the music, which is how it makes me feel or what the message is emotionally. Today, I'm here as a DJ. Obviously, I know you guys, I've known you guys for a long time. I love coming here So for me, this is my like happy place. You know, I get to present the music that I love to people who will hopefully enjoy it. The band leader is much more, you know, it's amazing, but the organization required behind is it's a lot more high pressure. It's a lot more regimented. It's a lot more, like being the boss of people, which I don't really like. But I'm very grateful that I'm able to do it. So it's very different. Then the label boss is very similar. There's a lot of different parts to that, which is very different from my DJ hat, because it's like, you know, selecting, A&Ring, a lot of admin, a lot of management, artist management behind that as well. So yeah, very different hats actually. I looked up to Giles Peterson. I saw him and said, I would love that career. And I formed that for myself, but I modeled myself on a man. But a lot of women would say, oh, well, I don't see anyone like me, so maybe I can't achieve that. So I think it's just like visibility and having more people like the young women that want to come through. It's tough at the top in any industry, and I think we just need more representation. I mean, if you look at the statistics of the pay gap for women CEOs in any industry worldwide, it's crazy. I have quite a high sense of moral justice, naturally. I think it's just the way that my brain works, to my detriment sometimes. But I think I've naturally moved into this kind of role of like advocating for women in the jazz scene. I think that it's been a natural thing that I have wanted to use my platform to make my space a more gender equal place. So like the record label, my band, you know, the shows that I book, the shows that I'm involved in, I can only do what I can do within my means, and without being too like talking about the negatives all the time, just make change. Exactly. Which is what I've kind of done my best to do.